The recent summer heat wave has become so intense that it has dominated the news, with reports of roads cracking under the relentless sun and power grids straining to cope with the growing demand for air conditioning. Every headline was peppered with articles about abnormal temperatures, some claiming records going back more than 10,000 years. While this was bad news for most, I found a silver lining. As a technician specializing in air conditioning installation and repair, this heat wave meant that business was booming. People were willing to pay any price for a cool breeze in their homes, and their desperation was evident in the frantic tone of their calls. Some begged for immediate admission, offering extra money to jump the queue. Others told of sleepless nights and babies crying from the heat. My phone never stopped ringing from the requests, and although it was tedious, the extra income was worth it. One of the calls came in the middle of the work week. The schedule was so tight that I sincerely hoped someone else on the team could take it. But there was no such luck during the peak of the season. Everyone was busy at work, and many were far away or even out of town. They would need teleportation skills to make it back in time. Having no choice, I reluctantly packed up and went outside, where the sun seemed to be frying everything in its path. Even the air conditioner in the car was failing, blowing out warm air that offered little relief. The oppressive heat made every minute outside seem like an eternity, and I began to fantasize about icy drinks, shady verandas, and the possibility of a cooler climate. Fortunately, it wasn't a long drive. The Bell was located within the city limits, in a newly built high-rise complex gleaming with fresh finishes. The mirrored glass exterior walls of the building caught the sunlight, casting a dazzling glare on the neat gardens below. Rows of trimmed hedges flanked the entrance to the building, and a cascading fountain added tranquility to the bustling urban environment. The opulence of the surroundings clearly testified to the wealth of its inhabitants. Buildings were so clean that they seemed to reflect the sunlight, making everything around them shimmer. Even the parking lot was spotlessly clean, with shaded areas designed to protect the cars from the debilitating heat. When I parked and got out, the sidewalk radiated heat like an oven. I could feel the sun burning my clothes, and beads of sweat began to protrude before I even reached the main entrance. As I walked, I thought that maybe it wasn't such a bad thing that I had taken this job. With the extra money, I could finally plan a vacation with my wife, somewhere cooler than this city furnace. Perhaps the mountains or a coastal retreat with cool evenings would do the trick. My wife had been hinting for weeks that she needed a vacation, and I was determined to make it happen. I imagined her reaction to the unexpected departure, a smile that would rival a sunny smile, but much more soothing. I made my way to said apartment, rang the doorbell, and was greeted by a pleasant tune from inside. The door opened and a stunning woman, tall and blonde, appeared before me. Her hair was definitely colored. No natural blonde could have achieved such a rich shade. Her deep blue eyes and plump lips folded into a welcoming smile that seemed both inviting and mischievous, as if she was eyeing me for some secret purpose. There was a playful confidence in her demeanor. The subtle tilt of her head and the curiosity in her gaze hinted that she was used to getting her way. "You came so quickly," she said cheerfully. "I'm dying in this heat. It's unbearable." "Don't worry, ma'am. We'll fix it," I assured her, stepping inside. It didn't seem like a long job, just a couple minutes to take care of the problem. But I decided to put on a show and take longer to justify the call-out fee. The apartment was luxurious, with marble floors that reflected the sunlight streaming in through the large windows. Despite the heat, the room exuded coolness and sophistication, from the minimalist decor to the faint scent of lavender that hung in the air. The huge floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of the city, with the horizon shimmering in the distance. Every detail of the room screamed wealth, from the sleek furniture to the artwork adorning the walls. When I finally got the air conditioner running at full power, the lady's face lit up with happiness. "You're such a professional," she said, admiration evident in her tone. She gave me a look around and added, "I'd like to thank you properly." She spoke deliberately, her voice lowered slightly, letting me know she had more than gratitude in mind. There was a deliberate slowness in her movements, as if she wanted me to notice every subtle gesture. I half expected her to give me a generous tip, but she had other ideas. She leaned closer, pressed her body against mine, her hands sliding down my shoulders. I didn't pull away. Her advances were not unwelcome. After all, she was quite attractive. The intensity of her gaze and how confidently she mastered herself was mesmerizing. The heat of the day seemed to pale in comparison to the tension in the room. For a moment, I forgot about the blazing sun, the oppressive heat outside, lost in the unexpected intimacy of this encounter. When I returned to the office, it was much later than expected. The delay had left me feeling tired and smugly satisfied. My coworkers greeted me with knowing smirks and teasing comments about how difficult my assignment must have been, and their laughter filled the room. I played along with their jokes, but inside I felt a strange mixture of guilt and delight at this encounter. The job took longer than anticipated, but it was definitely memorable. As I sat at my desk, thoughts of tropical beaches, shady cabins, and future possibilities ran through my mind. The heat may have been unrelenting, but it was full of unexpected surprises.